Well, greetings and salutations, everyone. I hope everyone is doing well today. Today, on the second half, I am going to discuss a case that is near and dear to me because not only is it in my backyard, but it also occurred on my daughter's birthday. Before we get into it, a couple links. As you know, I rely on Patreon, PayPal, and my merch to help the channel to continue to grow and go. The links to Patreon and PayPal are in the description below. My merch displayed directly under the video. Also, Dogman Frightening Encounters Volume 1, 2, and 3, the audiobook versions. They were written and researched by Tom Lyons, narrated and produced by me, Jeffrey Nadolny. Those audiobooks are available on Audible, Amazon, and iTunes, the links to which are also in the description as well. Now, everyone, I have taken far too much of your time. Let's get on with today's second half. Shall we? Alright, so as the majority of you know, I am from upstate New York in the Adirondacks. And back in November 15th of 2015, a gentleman by the name of Tom Messick went missing. And it was a very disturbing case because there were a lot of just unanswered questions left when the case was wrapped up, or the search and rescue was wrapped up and kind of written off, if you ask me. I had family members who were involved in the search and rescue division. I did a upload on the 15th of last year talking about the disappearance of Tom. 6 years. We are coming up on 7 and no sign of him. I took a drive up there today and it was, it was kind of funky. I'll explain why after I bring you guys up to speed on it, and I have every intent on going back up there either this weekend or next weekend. Probably next weekend because I got something else planned for tomorrow. But I wanted to kind of I'm not going to forget about this case. I don't believe that a man can disappear and in thin air with the circumstances surrounding it. A lot of people are like, well, he was hunting in a vast wilderness. Well, he wasn't really walking around. He was sitting. And where he was is off of Route 8 in Brant Lake, or Horicon, New York. And it's a small road called Lily Pond Road. And then Lily Pond Road then turns into Lily Pond Trail, which I ventured up into today as well. And I had mentioned that I had spotted some things on Google Earth with the satellite there. We'll get into that, but let's kind of talk about the case and what is very strange about the case. November 15th, 2015, Thomas Messick Sr., aged 82, an ex-paratrooper, walked into the woods south of Brant Lake in New York State to hunt for deer and was never seen again. No sign of him or his belongings ever turned up, including a rifle, walkie-talkie. Despite the large search area, unusually the FBI was even involved in the investigation. This is a strange and puzzling hunting disappearance. Tom lived in the city of Troy in New York State and was out that Sunday with a group of 6 friends and family members who were hunting near Lily Pond in the area of state land that is part of the Lake George Wild Forest. The older members of the group, 4 of them, were watchers in a static position, sat on a log or similar comfortable spots, and were in a near vertical line, while the younger hunters used the path around the lake to drive the deer to the watchers as part of the drive. Since the mid-1880s, Brant Lake has been a popular fishing and hunting area among the wealthy visitors, including Theodore Roosevelt. Brant Lake Camp was incorporated by R.B. Gertzing and J.E. Eberly and John F. Malloy in 1917. After 55 years of hunting with longtime friends, also senior men, at the Messick hunting camp in Hague, they decided to try this area for the first time. Tom was supposed to stay in one spot as the members of the group walked through the woods to push deer towards him. But when they arrived at the location where he was supposed to be, he was gone. Without a trace of him or his belongings, no sign of any deer was found that day. He was wearing duck boots, camouflage pants, a coat, gloves, and a red and black checked hat that he had worn for many years. He had carried his rifle and a walkie-talkie. Tom served in the United States Army as a paratrooper with the 82nd Airborne Division, and he was 5 foot 10 inches tall and weighed about 160. He was an experienced hunter, woodsman, taught hunting and survival training for many years. He had a history of heart problems and lost an eye in an accident with explosive device in his 20s. So he had poor vision and limited hearing, as well as 159 stitches in his hand. He had also just gotten over a case of shingles and nearly decided not to go on his annual hunting trip. He was last seen at 10 a.m. when Messick didn't show up at the agreed upon time. His friends called the forest rangers and they searched from 4:30 p.m. It got dark around 7 p.m. At that point, half the group stayed and fired their rifles and honked their horns to attract Tom to the area. The rest of the men left the scene and reported him missing to the family and the authorities. The day after Tom had disappeared on November 16th, the search started with 13 trained SAR professionals from the Park Services. It was a well-organized hunt from the start. The huge search over several weeks involved more than 300 professionals, volunteers on some days. Assisted by dogs, divers, helicopters, no clues were found, including no sign of his rifle or walkie-talkie. More than 4 square miles were searched, with a larger area being searched by air with the aid of a helicopter from the State Police Aviation Unit. More than 15 agencies were involved, including DEC Forest Rangers, DEC Police Canine Unit, DEC Police Officers, FBI Quick Response Team, a State Police Special Operations Response Team, the Warren County Sheriff's Office Tactical Team, and volunteers from the New York State Federation of Search and Rescue Team. The weather was poor with heavy rain, but sniffer dogs were deployed before the worst of the rain arrived. Searchers walked through the woods, no matter how thick they were, including swamps, and checked nearby roads. But there was absolutely nothing. Areas were tied off with string to box off specific areas to allow a detailed search of every grid zone. It was described as a spider web of string in the forest. Given his age, searchers were baffled, as he could not have gotten far from his original location. Some said it was weird that there were no sounds of wildlife while the SAR teams were in operation, almost as if something had silenced those woods. The search area had many caves, crevices, and other hazards. Could he have somehow fallen down into one of these? For a man of his age, was he even mobile enough? Why were there no clues on the ground despite the methodical grid search? Surprisingly, the FBI arrived on the 4th day, November 19th. This was unusual, as the FBI never usually gets involved in these types of missing person cases, unless it falls under federal jurisdiction, like it happened on federal lands. Tom's wife, Beverly, said the FBI told me something is not right with this case, but they don't know what. They will not share any theories if they have them. The FBI said until they make a discovery, they are never going to know. But subsequently, investigators said there had been no indications of foul play. David Winchell, the spokesperson for the DEC, said rangers continued to search the area on a limited, continuous basis since the wide-scale ground search ended in January of 2016. That means rangers check the area periodically for evidence or clues. Beverly said he had been in the woods since he was a boy, and if he had gotten lost, he would have cut a piece of his jacket and tied it to a tree and done the other things he had learned. His wife said her greatest fear was that he was a victim of foul play. The only thing I can think of is that maybe someone came by in a quad, heard him, got scared, and drove him out of there. I keep praying they'll find him so we can have some closure. I keep worrying that I didn't tell him I loved him the last day I saw him alive. In the summer of 2018, state police used sniffer dogs trained to detect cadavers and go through portions of the woods and fields near where Messick disappeared. State police investigator John Diet said no clues were found, but the police investigation is ongoing. One of the members of the hunting group was interviewed. I heard a strange noise in the woods, but I don't know what it was. Just a different noise from what I usually hear, Like what? It'd be hard to explain because, it was different. Something different that I had never heard before in the woods. I just can't say what it was, How long was it? Was it 2 or 3 seconds? No, it's just whatever it is, How far away it was? I'd say probably 150 yards, something like that. Was it toward Tom or away from Tom? This was up toward the hill, the top of the hill, yeah. Did you tell the police this? Yes, I told them this, but they passed it off. Tom's disappearance is yet another strange case. Tom just vanished off the face of the earth. He was old, but an experienced backwoodsman. A tough guy, ex-paratrooper, and not one to wander off into the woods when hunting. He had a rifle, a walkie-talkie, and no sign of them had been found despite the massive search of the area, including all inaccessible parts, water and caves. So big of a search that locals thought someone important like a politician was involved. Sniffer dogs, nor FLIR-equipped helicopters were able to find any trace. Was he snatched from Lake George Wild Forest by a serial killer or something else? Why was the FBI involved in this case? So that's the case. That's it. That's what we know. But this is where I'm at. I go up today. I went up there 6 months ago. I made a mini documentary about the case. I interviewed the fire chief, his wife, law enforcement, town supervisor, mom and pop store owner, this and that. Went to Lily Pond Road, went to the location, walked around in the woods. What I saw up there makes me question how they could not have found an 82-year-old man in 2 hours. It's impossible that he just vanished into thin air. There was no ATV tracks during the initial investigation. There was no kind of foul play. Nothing. I didn't get any eerie feelings when I was up there the first time, like I was being watched. I got a weird feeling, like, I don't know, like a tingly feeling. I don't know if it was from like the magnetic whatever. There's a lot of granite up there. Most of the Adirondacks are granite anyway. So I don't know what to make of it. I'm at a loss of words with how they didn't find him. The FBI being involved makes no sense. Tom Messick was not a tender-aged youth. Tom Messick didn't cross state lines. Tom Messick, it wasn't on federal parks, so there was no anything. He had a firearm. He had a walkie-talkie. 200 feet down was a friend. Tom Messick didn't get up and walk away. Something pulled Tom Messick from his seat and did something crazy. Like I said the other day, for those of you who remember when I said I've been Google Earthing it, I noticed a weird anomaly on Lily Pond Trail, which Lily Pond Road ends, Lily Pond Trail kind of begins, and it goes around the pond. It was a black spot. I thought maybe another pond. So today I start walking. And I use the measurement cue to where I should be in relativity to the black spot on Google Earth. And there's nothing there. Okay. Probably a shadow then, I say to myself. I'm not having any eerie feelings. I'm not having anything going on. I'm not questioning anything. I'm just in my own head, cruising about, looking around. I'm a little freaked out right now, still. I didn't bring my recording equipment with me because it was a beautiful sunny day, but it was windy, very windy. We've had some windstorms lately. I believe downstate or down south got hit with some wind and tornadoes. I think we're getting the tail end of that storm. And the mic wouldn't have picked up anything that I talked about. I am going back next weekend with all of my equipment, and I have an idea, man. So I go down Lily Pond Trail, man. All right. And I don't mean to say, man, I'm sorry. I got freaked out today. I'm walking down Lily Pond Trail and I get to like the rounded edge of the trail and I'm kind of at the head of the pond. And I get to where I should see this anomaly and there's nothing. So I turn around. Mind you, it's a decent day. I'm having no weird feelings. I'm having nothing. The wind is blowing. There's birds. There's crow. As I turn around and start walking, I'm just cruising. Do. Everything's fine. I get to where my car, I could see my car far off. But I'm still on Lily Pond Trail. I'm still deep in the woods, actually, because even Lily Pond Road stops and you're still in the woods. There's no houses. This is a fire road. I start hearing something on both sides of me, behind me. And I start walking a little faster. Not too fast, but just enough. I pick up the pace a little. I don't give it any mind. But something is on both sides of me. I get to where Lily Pond Trail connects to Lily Pond Road. And I hear whatever is 100 feet behind me, 200 feet behind me, turn around and walk the opposite way on both sides. As I hear that and I click my fob, I hear nothing except the walking. I don't hear birds. I don't hear anything. I think I figured it out. I really do. I don't know what it is. It may be a Dogman. It may be a Bigfoot. Whatever got Tom, got him from above. Whatever got Tom got him from the trees, my friends. How do I know this? Well, because there was no tracks. He had probably had his firearm, his rifle strapped, his harness. Whatever, I believe, whatever got him picked him up and brought him back into the trees. Because whatever followed me, I didn't hear until we were almost towards my car, or towards Lily Pond Road. My car was just like a little ways after the trail ended. There was something in both sides of the trail, but I believe they were in the trees at first. And I believe they're an ambush. Whatever's out there, guys, is an ambush predator. I'm not. And I'm going back next weekend. I will have my equipment with me. I got a new gimbal, I think they're called. Some sort of recording. It's going to hold my camera. It's better than what I have now. Whatever was there, guys, was not. It wasn't deer. It wasn't rabbit. Because a deer isn't going to follow you and then turn around. And then after my key fob, I hear nothing. I don't hear it walk anymore. I think it went back into the trees. Which points to one direction for me. Dogman, Bigfoot, cryptid. Something cryptid. Something ambush predator, something deadly. And I really think that if the workers, the search and rescue workers, looked up, they may have found Tom Messick. Think about the LBL. When they looked up, they found the girl. I can't talk about this anymore. I'm pretty freaked out. I actually called a friend today after this, before I made this video, and told him what happened. And I don't know. I don't know what it was, but I was scared. And not like a jump scare. Like, whatever. I really think Tom Messick may be in the trees still. Maybe that's why they couldn't find him. Because whatever got him kept him in the trees. All right. With that, I want to thank you all for all your support, tuning in. It means the world to me. Please, please be safe. And may the Great Spirit watch over us all, and may He guide us down that path that we call life. Until tomorrow, my friends.